They grow so much in such a short period of time. Those early years, you just never get them back.
If your child comes home happy and you feel like their needs have been met during the day, that's the best feeling in the world.
We like to have lots of little small worlds. We'll have different activities on shelves, but they can create what they like to do. They're having fun, but they're actually taking in a lot of knowledge and they're learning a lot of things through that time too.
It's a warm, happy place. Everyone is smiling, the kids are running around having fun.
Everyone speaks to you and cares about our children, so that's really the number one priority.
I don't know how to explain it other than it feels like home.
They grow so much in such a short period of time. Those early years, you just never get them back.
If your child comes home happy and you feel like their needs have been met during the day, that's the best feeling in the world.
We like to have lots of little small worlds. We'll have different activities on shelves, but they can create what they like to do. They're having fun, but they're actually taking in a lot of knowledge and they're learning a lot of things through that time too.
It's a warm, happy place. Everyone is smiling, the kids are running around having fun.
Everyone speaks to you and cares about our children, so that's really the number one priority.
I don't know how to explain it other than it feels like home.
They grow so much in such a short period of time. Those early years, you just never get them back.
If your child comes home happy and you feel like their needs have been met during the day, that's the best feeling in the world.
We like to have lots of little small worlds. We'll have different activities on shelves, but they can create what they like to do. They're having fun, but they're actually taking in a lot of knowledge and they're learning a lot of things through that time too.
It's a warm, happy place. Everyone is smiling, the kids are running around having fun.
Everyone speaks to you and cares about our children, so that's really the number one priority.
I don't know how to explain it other than it feels like home.
Hello and welcome to the Sunkids Virtual Kindergarten Information Night. My name is Jacqueline and I'll be the host for tonight's webinar. Before we start, we'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Now, kindergarten is a really exciting chapter in both your lives and your children's lives. It's a real stepping stone into formal education as your children embark on school ahead of them, and that is prep. And I can definitely vouch for that, as I have 3 children of my own, and the kindergarten program was so important, especially for my eldest who's in prep, to get that confidence and learn to engage with friends and really get ready for prep and learn their way before making that transition into prep. And I know, just as a parent myself, I've also got a son who will be starting kindergarten next year, how important it is to understand what a good quality kindergarten program is and what it is you need to know before your children start that kindergarten program. So it's so exciting to be bringing you this webinar this evening. So a huge welcome to everyone in Brisbane and across down in the Gold Coast. And joining me tonight, we do have a wonderful panel. So we're very honoured to be joined by all our guest speakers tonight that will give us an insight into the kindergarten program and the many benefits of what a kindergarten program will have on your child's development before they start prep. To begin with, I would like to introduce our special guest speaker, Gabby Smith. Gabby's the Director and Principal OT at Paediatric Potentials, a leading provider of paediatric OT therapy services here in Brisbane. Thank you so much for joining us, Gabby.
Thank you, Jacqueline, and welcome to everyone who's tuned in tonight. Very excited to be here.
And now we are definitely honoured to be joined by 2 of Sunkids kindergarten teachers. Lee, who is an early childhood teacher at Sunkids Ormiston, and she's been at Sunkids for over 10 years. An honour to have you here tonight, Lee. Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie.
And also we have Linda, who is the early childhood teacher at Sunkids Stadium Village on the Gold Coast, and she's been at the centre since it opened 2 years ago, Linda?
Yep, we've been open now for 2 years.
So thanks again for joining us. And rounding out our panel, we have the very lovely Kayleen, the Operations Manager for Sunkids. Kayleen has been with Sunkids for over 14 years now, Kayleen.
I have, just feels like yesterday.
Lovely. Now we do have an absolutely action-packed agenda for you tonight. And so we'll have each of our panel members talk to you later on and about some of the key topics that are really important in understanding what a good quality kindergarten program is. These topics include an introduction to what kindergarten is, how kindergarten benefits your child's development, how we prepare your child for school, the benefits of play-based learning programs, and the key to confidence and self-esteem building, and also the many ways Sunkids help ease the transition from kindergarten into school. Now, we do encourage all of you at home, or wherever you may be tuning into this webinar, to send in any questions you have. So there's sunkids.com.au, and you'll see a live chat section that allows you to send through your questions directly to us, and we'll do our absolute best to answer them throughout the webinar. If we do unfortunately run out of time, rest assured our wonderful panel here will answer any of those questions tomorrow or throughout the week. They are here to respond to every question that we receive. But we will be crossing to our panel throughout the night, because we did receive a great response of questions in the pre-registration over the weeks, so they will be answered throughout the week. So stay tuned. And to conclude our webinar, we will have the draw of our lucky draw winner of the Play Kitchen Pack, a fantastic play set that encourages imaginative play at home with your children. So that's exciting for the parents, not as well as the children. And that's valued at over $500. Now, without further ado, to kick things off this evening, Kayleen will be running us through a brief introduction to the Sunkids kindergarten program. Thank you very much, Kayleen.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Welcome to everyone at home tuning in tonight. It's very exciting for Sunkids to be able to offer this webinar this evening for kindergarten. Tonight, I'm going to extend on what kindergarten is within Sunkids. So as a parent, it's critical that you're well informed about the different options available for your child to attend kindergarten. In essence, children have the option to attend a long daycare kindergarten such as Sunkids, or a smaller C&K type community kindergarten. So to be offered a kindergarten program, we have to adhere to lots of ticks and checks from the government in relation to the kindergarten guidelines in order to be able to say we're an approved kindergarten program. And the last part of that is that we have bachelor qualified teachers employed to offer our kindergarten programs. So we're very proud that all of our Sunkids centres across the Queensland have the government approved kindergarten programs. So the main difference for Sunkids that we offer families is the flexibility in hours and days that the children attend. So if your child's enrolled at a Sunkids centre, they can attend a 12-hour day. Most of our centres are open 6 till 6 or 6:30 till 6:30. So it's for essential parents that work, that you need longer days rather than the traditional 9 till 3 programs that the traditional kindergartens offer. Our actual kindergarten program runs from 8:30 to 4, Monday to Friday, 42 weeks a year. However, if your child's enrolled at a Sunkids centre, they can attend a 12-hour day, 52 weeks a year, excluding public holidays, of course. One of the other added benefits is the established friendships children form from early on in early childhood. They start moving up rooms with their friends, and then these friendships often develop into the primary school settings, and it's a real comfort that children have a familiar face in the playground or in the classroom of this strange environment. And then another benefit of childcare is to have the one drop off. So if you've got younger children, it's easy to do one drop off knowing that your child's not being disadvantaged at all. In essence, they're getting a very high quality kindergarten program, but you're just doing the one stop shop, so to speak, morning and afternoons, which saves a lot of time. And then there are so many more benefits in what we offer at Sunkids within our play-based curriculum, which Lee and Linda will both extend on this evening. And then another element is Sunkids have our own curriculum, and it's based on an emergent style curriculum. So it's the learning based on the children's interest, and we extend on that and then take the learning to where the children direct us, in essence. So this then in turn sort of ties in with the government Queensland kindergarten guidelines. So it's a play-based curriculum as well. So the children are already having that play-based learning style from very young age, and that flows through into the kindergarten room. At Sunkids, we're extremely proud of the emergent curriculum in which we have formulated ourselves, and then we sort of tie that in with the kindergarten guidelines as the children progress into our kindergarten rooms. Sunkids curriculum is based on incorporating the life skills of virtues, and virtues are spoken in the language to the children within the centre of kindness, generosity, confidence, courage, determination. And you'll often hear someone say, you know, you're showing a lot of patience there while you're waiting the turn on your computer. And it's just putting it into real life scenarios for the children. We actually have books based on all of our virtues in a reading hub where the children are exposed to the language of virtues throughout our centres. And this just instills of love of learning for all the children. So I hope that's answered some of the questions that you may have. And I'm sure Lee, Linda and Gabby will extend further tonight.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks, Colleen. Like an absolute fantastic program you've got here. I just love your life virtues, but also particularly the one drop-off. I'm a fan of the one drop-off with 3 kids under 5. I highly recommend that. And obviously also, like you mentioned, the flexibility too, which is great.
Absolutely.
Now we're going to move on to Gabby, who's going to talk to us about how kindergarten is key to your child's development. Gabby, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It is a real honour to have you here.
Thank you, Jacqueline, and welcome to everyone that's tuned in at home. It is great to be here. So as occupational therapists, we help support your children to develop the skills that they need, want and have to do throughout their day-to-day activities. This may be physical development, social emotional development, sensory implementation and cognitive skills. Now, we improve their ability to do the everyday things that they need to do because that's what's meaningful to them. The key occupation for children is to be a playmate, to engage in play and to learn through all those hands-on experiences to be able to build the foundational skills that they need to move on to prep the following year. Now, we don't just do this with the child, we work in partnership with all of the educators, similar to the Sunkids educators that we have here tonight, other allied health workers, speech therapists, teachers, and most importantly, you as the parents. We adopt a lot of evidence-based strategies and parent coaching frameworks to make sure that you feel empowered to know that your child has the skills to be able to be successful individuals. And being a parent myself, isn't that what we do when we are wanting the best for our kids? We also acknowledge that children's development is not linear and they're all on their own learning journey. As a result, we use a range of standardised assessments and evidence-based strategies to make sure that they have those skills so that they can build and develop as time goes on. Now, we make sure that their learning goals relate to what is an interest to them. So whether it be Peppa Pig, Peter Rabbit, Sesame Street, we use those motivators to make sure that your child's engaged and wanting to learn these skills that otherwise they'd find mundane or a task that we find is not natural for them to be able to do. So using motivators is key in seeing that success in your child. Now, kindergarten development is all about making sure your child is ready for school. Now, it's not just focused on a curriculum-based framework, it's really harnessing in on that play skills. So we look at fine motor skills, and particularly in a kindy-based setting, we're looking at things such as threading, Play-Doh, cutting, painting, you name it. Anything that your child is playing with is useful for their foundational skills when they hit school. So some skills we look at as occupational therapists are fine motor skills that involve pencil skills that will assist with drawing. So drawing is key in this play-based curriculum. It will lead in turn to handwriting and being able to write your name. However, this isn't necessary in a kindergarten setting and is more useful for developing those skills once they hit a structured learning context such as prep. We also look at things such as hand-eye coordination, so your children being able to throw and catch a ball and coordinate their pencil and copy things from a board once they hit prep. But in this play-based curriculum, it's more so done through that engagement of interacting with their friend and doing a teddy bear's picnic and seeing how that all works together. Life skills are also really important at this age. So being able to make sure that your child can take off their jacket when they're feeling hot, not sweltering in the heat, making sure that they're able to toilet themselves properly. So that includes wiping, understanding the urge to go to the toilet, and being able to ask for help when they need that. And also behaviour and making sure that your child has that self-help ability in able to regulate with adults. So we don't expect them to regulate on their own. Self-regulation is something that takes time. It's being able to develop those things with those supporting adults and being able to read cues and support them to be those really independent, successful beings. Now, as occupational therapists, we are big believers that a child's key occupation is to play. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this can be done through threading, cutting, drawing, painting, you name it, it's all there. So play is the main way of developing, learning, interacting and growth at this particular age. And Sunkids does a great job with the programs that they have in store with making sure that these kids, your kids, are able to develop the things that they need to be able to access school in the coming years. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the key to unlocking potential is to enhance skills in a fun, interactive way. So this may be done through Play-Doh, slime, mud, anything that has more than one sensory system working at the one time. So research has shown that the more sensory systems working with your child means that they need to practice those skills less. So even though it may just look like they're playing with sand at kindy, they're actually developing these neural pathways to their brain and understanding more of what they're doing and what their body's doing so that they can build those foundations of more curriculum-based things once they hit school. Now, more about us as a practice. We are a practice of 8 experienced occupational therapists at present. We develop a really holistic approach in our way of delivering therapy services. So as mentioned, we work with a range of different professionals, whether it be in an education setting or you as parents or other allied health therapists, to make sure that we're getting the best outcomes for your child. We provide services under the National Disability Insurance Scheme, early intervention funding, Medicare and private health. We always make sure that what we're doing is realistic and achievable for you as a family and centre our goals around what you want your child to achieve whilst adopting that play-based framework. We also spend a lot of time out in the community and in the settings that your child actually learns and uses these skills. So whether that be a kindergarten, long daycare centre, home, school, all of those contexts we go out and visit to make sure that the skills we're teaching are transferred into those meaningful contexts. Now, you don't need a referral to see us if you do feel that your child needs some OT support. However, seeing your GP may allow you to access some Medicare benefits associated with coming to see us. So if you do need to give us a call or if you have any further questions, you can visit us at our website, paediatricpotentials.com.au, or you can also give our friendly reception team a call on 3186 1390.
Oh, wow. Gabby, thank you. What a wonderful insight into what is no doubt an absolute valuable service for, you know, all those children at home that need it, and just to be able to offer it here at Sunkids as well. So thank you so much. Now we get to hear from the very people who facilitate the children's learning. First, we're going to start off with Lee, who's going to talk about how kindergarten prepares your child for school. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Good evening to all our parents at home. So at Sunkids, we ensure that all children are well prepared when they leave our kindergarten for prep. We do this, the teachers do this by supporting them to develop the necessary skills through a variety of play-based activities. So how this looks is everything your child does during their time at Sunkids is supporting their development and getting them ready for prep. So for example, when they're playing with Play-Doh, they're strengthening and developing the muscles that are needed for holding pencils and using scissors. They're creating and imagining and thinking in new and innovative ways. So Play-Doh is a really calming activity, so it often leads to the child sitting for an extended period of time, which leads to them developing their ability to concentrate. And with Play-Doh, they can easily make changes as they go. So this helps them to persist to achieve what they've set out to do. It develops their social skills as they share ideas and shared conversations with their friends. School readiness is determined by so much more than just their age. Children need to have well-developed communication, fine and gross motor, and most importantly, socially and emotional development to help make that transition to prep successful. So some of the desired skills might include listening to and following instructions, being responsible for their own belongings, being able to open lunch boxes, talking clearly and in full sentences, taking turns in conversations, having the correct pencil grip, toileting independently, recognising and writing their name, recognising and copying basic shapes, drawing a picture and discussing what they might have drawn. In our kindergarten, we also focus on developing skills such as curiosity, cooperation, investigation, persistence and resilience. We believe in helping the children learn how to cope with change. We talk a lot about keep trying, and we talk a lot about respecting each other in the room, and also about being kind.
Wonderful, thanks so much. Yeah, I really like the you mentioned listening. I think that's so everyone can relate to. Come on, kids, just listen. How many times do we have to repeat ourselves? But I know it's something that you guys work on before making that transition into prep. Important skill to have, and maybe even from now. But anyway, now Linda, Kayleen and Gabby both touched on play-based learning. Can you explain to us exactly what is play-based learning and how it differs to, say, structured learning, which probably us adults are maybe more familiar with?
Yeah, definitely. So at Sunkids, we deliver a child-centred emergent curriculum in a play-based learning environment. So this means that we support the idea that children learn best when they're interested in the experience at hand, and they're active participants in creating their own learning environments and their learning experiences. Learning through play encourages a hands-on approach and can cater to a variety of learning styles and needs. As mentioned by Kayleen earlier, the kindergarten program follows a set of learning outcomes that are used to guide the child's knowledge and understanding, allowing them to develop those essential skills that they need to make that successful transition into prep. So these are called Queensland Kindergarten Learning Guidelines, and they include outcomes such as child's identity, child's connectedness, child's well-being, which is that social and emotional development, and child's active learning, so their ability to be a part of the environment and create those positive connections with learning, and their communication skills, so their pre-literacy, pre-numeracy, and just that positive communication amongst each other, being able to listen for reason and answer and talk positively amongst each other. So as research suggests, children participating in learning in a play-based environment are more likely to reach their developmental milestones, as they are actively engaged in social play situations that both challenge and help establish those early years skills that are required for that successful transition. So these are those social and emotional skills, pre-literacy and pre-numeracy skills, the confidence to approach tasks and to do things independently. Also those self-help skills, so opening lunch boxes, toileting and dressing themselves. All these are used to help them prepare for to meet the new challenges for prep.
And Linda, how does this play-based learning program help them build confidence and self-esteem that is obviously needed when they make that transition into prep? How does it help them?
Yeah, well, look, throughout a child's experience in the kindergarten room, their well-being and identity and ability to be confident communicators is supported through various activities that encourage independence and that positive communication amongst everybody, amongst their peers and educators. So the children do so when they're encouraged to use self-selection for activity choices and make decisions about the activities at hand. So in the morning we might sit down at group time and we might discuss what we're going to do for the day. They might choose that, they're interested in small world play, so we'll set up a small worlds activity. They might be interested in the marble run, so we'll do marble run, Play-Doh, as you were saying before, and craft and all those things. Within the kindergarten classroom, the children learn that responsibility through caring for their personal belongings, and furthermore, begin to establish an understanding of how to care for their centre environment. They're doing that at home and also at kindies. So I know at the Stadium Centre we have pets within our classroom. So we have 2 birds and a fish, and the children are responsible for helping take care of those animals. They help feed them, they take them out for that exercise and form those connections and learn how to take care of them as well, and that responsibility.
I think that's so important because when they start school, they're sort of fending for themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. Look, within our flexible routine, the children are encouraged to establish those positive communication skills that we've spoken so much about already. These are particularly important when it's skills such as listening for purpose. So being able to listen to a friend's conversation and establish a question from that they can then ask their friends, We do these in small group activities and whole group activities, or with show and tell.
Who doesn't love a bit of show and tell?
They
Highlight
love
of the week.
Yeah, they love show and tell. They come to us almost every day with a show and tell thing. Show and tell is great. Look, it helps to establish those communication skills. You know, they're sitting for that extended period of time on the mat and learning about their friends' interests and, you know, again, establishing those questions and learning how to ask questions to their friends. We also have meal times provided here at Sunkids. The children participate in the lunchbox week as they prepare for prep. This is again another one of those positive communication activities and building that self-help and confidence. It's a fun opportunity that the children get to build their lunchboxes and bring them in. We discuss things like nutrition, meal portions, because they're going from having their meals catered to them to a tiny lunchbox. And they have to be sure that they're not going to eat that whole lunchbox within their first lunch break.
It's very tempting.
Especially when there's a nice little biscuit there and you know, Sandra will eat that now.
And that's at healthy choices as well. Like they're learning about those sometimes foods and, you know, what should we eat first if we're going to go off and play, we're going to need that energy, so we're going to eat our sandwiches and things like that first.
And it's making the decision for themselves as opposed to having the teacher go, okay, now we're going to sit down and do morning tea. This is what you get. This is what you're getting for lunch. It's making those decisions themselves and getting that independence.
Yeah,
isn't it?
definitely. Look, the lunchbox activity is also fun for the children, but as parents are our first educators, it's an activity that parents can do at home as well. So it gets our families involved with asking these questions to their children about, you know, what foods do you like, discussing the nutrition behind things and getting an understanding of what their children are learning here within the centre as well. As parents are the first educators, as I said too, and their input is so important, we value it so much. We love family input. So we take on things like photos, stories of what they've done on the weekend, recipe ideas, and we incorporate that all into our kindergarten curriculum. So although people like myself and Lee, we develop the program, we also need the input from the families. Yeah, it is so important. And the children enjoy it too. They love to know that something's come from their home environment and being used within their kindergarten classroom. It just kind of makes it feel a little bit more like home.
Thanks, Linda. That was a really insightful, you know, more understanding about exactly what play-based learning is. Now, Lee, back to you. We learned how the kindergarten program prepares children for school, but how exactly does Sunkids help transition them into school? You know, that big place. It's a bit overwhelming. Even for me as a parent, with my child starting this year, I was even a bit daunting.
Well, Sunkids help transition children into the school through a number of ways. We make connections with our local schools, we have prep teachers visit the kindergarten environment, and then we write the transition statements. So Sunkids work hard to build trust, you know, professional relationships with the local schools and to help support the successful transition into prep. We know this is a major life event and it's a big change for these children. So our aim is to provide as much support as we can to make this positive. Through these relationships, our early childhood teachers work with the schools to help bridge that gap between prep and school. Through the year, when the local prep teachers will come in and visit, they interact with our kindergarten children so that the relationships start building then. During this time, the prep teacher will talk about what to expect at school, and they might share some elements like a story time or music and movement. So we also work closely with you to support you on these transition days and what to expect and transition events. And then towards the end of the year is when we'll write the transition statements. So this document is an essential tool to share with your child's school as it summarises your child's learning in each learning and development area that Linda talked about before. So this is a tool that supports and recognises that children's learning is fluid, particularly as they transition into a new setting.
I think over time though too, Sunkids have got a really awesome reputation with the local schools, and you know, we have prep teachers that do come and do those, you know, chats with the children and talk about the library and all of that. And, you know, the feedback they give to us is that they can tell what children come from Sunkids centres. And we are so proud of that reputation within our local schools.
And I think as also you've mentioned, Kayleen, earlier today when we were chatting, that you also buddy up kids that are going to the same school. So I think that's really nice. So some children don't think, oh, I'm taking this big leap into the unknown by myself. They've got a little buddy from the kindergarten program who they've perhaps befriended, and you notify parents if they're going with another child from the kindergarten.
As an adult, we know how daunting it is to go into an unfamiliar environment. So as a little child, it's nice to have that familiar face in the classroom, in the playground, or just to, you know, go to the library, wherever the library might be. It's, you know, they're finding their surroundings.
Yeah, exactly. So now it comes a time to hear from all of you at home. We've had an overwhelming amount of questions come in and responses, so thank you so much for those who have sent in some questions. Now, our first question has been sent in, and we're going to take this question over to you, Lee. Sorry, over this side. I've got my Lindas and my Lee. Do parents receive a summary of what the children have been learning during the week, and to continue with that subject matter at home?
Yep, absolutely. So we use a Story Park app as a platform to, so on there will be observations and kindy chats about what your child is interested in and what they're learning. So from that you'd be able to see what they're doing and follow on at home with that. If we're doing any special projects or things that we really would love some parent input, we'll put that out through an email or chats, and then you can provide that to us and follow up with books and conversations at home.
Yeah, it is a great app. I do use it currently, with my child and my child that's in prep. And it's so exciting, sort of during the day you get your phone and go, oh yes, he's been good with his Play-Doh today. He's been doing this, all that. So it is a really great app to have to keep lines of communication open throughout the day with the educators and parents at home. Now our next question is from Shara. So thank you, Shara, for sending this through. And it is for you, Kayleen. What age should children start kindergarten?
Okay, so that's an easy one.
Oh, good. I like an easy one.
Children need to turn 4 by the 30th of June, the year they start kindergarten. So there's an awesome Queensland government website. So you just type in your child's date of birth, and that will pop up the year they start kindergarten, prep, and grade 1. Okay. So it's just, we'll put it on the webinar tonight. You just type in all your details there and it'll tell you. But by the 30th of June, they have to be 4.
I think a few of you at home now are just sort of saying, are we ready for kindergarten? Now, the next question is for you. Thank you, Linda. What is the main learning focus during the kindergarten year?
That's the social and emotional development.
Okay, yeah.
Look, Gabby spoke so much about it as well. We've spoken so much about it tonight, just how the social and emotional development, it helps to build that foundation for confidence and that independent learning. If a child is socially and emotionally ready, they are confident to tackle those challenging tasks by themselves or with minimal assistance, really. Throughout the year, the children are supported in various play-based learning experiences to help develop their confidence and creating that maintaining the positive connections that they're going to establish with their peers as well. When these children transition to prep, they're going from a childcare environment where they have a variety of educators to support them and guide them all day long to only a single educator. And that can be really tough for them.
Yeah.
So developing that social and emotional confidence to be able to tackle those challenging tasks and that self-regulation of emotion that you were talking about, to seek friends if they can't find a teacher, to ask for help. So it's definitely that social and emotional development.
Yeah. Now our next question has come in from Lara. So thank you, Lara, for sending in this question. And we're going to send it over to you, Lee. You're on fire tonight, Lee. How does someone Lee wants to know, how do you Lara wants to know, how do you determine if your child is ready for prep?
Okay, so during the year, as we talked about on Story Park, we'll upload observations on your child, and that will have goals and things attached to them. And you'll be able to discuss the child's progress and follow that. Like Linda said at Stadium, at Ormiston we do the 6 months where parents are invited in, and we'll discuss where your child's at and where to next, and any concerns can be talked about then. But anytime we're available to discuss, and transition statements offer the great insight into your child's readiness for school and highlight if they do need any extra support. But any concerns surrounding your child's development or readiness for prep will be discussed at the earliest stage possible, so we can get the right support for that. And we'll always be honest and ensure that the child is, that respecting and supporting each child.
Yeah, and I think as parents, you definitely instill a lot of trust in your children's educators. Now, next question is for you, please, Gabby, and it comes in from Jessica, so thank you, Jessica. How do we determine if my child needs additional support from an OT and to be ready for prep?
Great question, Jessica. This is something that we get asked a lot, particularly at this time of year. Questions are being asked by kindergartens as to, what school are you off to? What are your plans for next year? How are they going? So us as OTs, we run through a specific checklist that we've developed at Paediatric Potentials for our own kids, and we share that with our parents to just check off some boxes and see where they're going and give a bit of a plan as to what we do next and what we would assist with doing. So one of the key things that we look at is motor skills, so specifically gross motor skills. Is your child able to navigate a playground setting? Can they do a ladder that's climbing up? Can they do the monkey bars? Can they go up the stairs that leads to their classroom? All of those things that allow for access in those contexts. So if they're not able to do those things, we're able to break it down and assist you and your child with learning how to do those specific tasks. Now, building on from those gross motor skills, if a child's got great gross motor skills, we're able to work really in depth on those fine motor skills. So specifically, is your child able to hold a pencil? We're looking at something with 4 or 3 fingers at this age. We don't want to see any fisted grasps. That's when it's good to pick up the phone and give us a call. Also, is your child able to hold scissors, whether that's cutting a straight line, cutting a basic shape? All of those skills are really important for prep, because really prep is full of cut and paste. They come home messy.
My child's school bag is just literally filled with shapes and cutting, and I'm like, okay, what do we do with
That's
all
it.
this? Yeah.
Exactly. Key thing that we look at.
Good skill to have.
Exactly,
Yeah.
definitely. We love our cut and paste.
Yes.
But a key thing that if your child is struggling with those sorts of things, we can help break down and give some strategies to build that. You've got a lot of time to practice between now and when your child starts prep.
Yeah.
So don't feel that if they haven't got it now, there isn't time for them to get it. There's plenty of time still. The other things that we look at are those self-care skills. So for example, can they open all of the containers in their lunchbox? Can they do the cling wrap on their sandwich? Are they able to put their pants up and down when they go to the toilet? And importantly, can they wipe their bottom? I know, very simple thing, but these are the things that we need to make sure that your child's able to do, so they don't have that situation of, I don't know who to ask, there's not an educator or a teacher floating around in the toilet. So that's something that we need to teach them, those skills, and also if they are struggling, where they can go for help. So that leads into that social emotional domain that we also look at as, are they able to follow directions? Are they able to ask for help? And do they have those basic skills of being able to interact with their peers, say, hi, how are you? Or would you like to play with me? All of these things are key with continuing that play-based learning into a school-based setting.
Excellent, thank you. Gabby, now our next question comes from Rihanna, and it's for you, Linda. Will there be progress updates from teachers in regards to my child's learning and what needs to be improved, and if extra help is needed for my child? How do you communicate with the parents there?
Yeah, so we use the Story Park platform, and the Story Park platform has your child's progress and observations all uploaded onto it. And that allows you the opportunity to see how they're going. At the Stadium Village Centre, I have 6-month meetings with our parents, and we use that time to discuss where we see the children are at. We talk about if you think your child is going to go to school in the new year, what goals they might need to achieve that, and how we're going to reach those goals. So for us, particularly at our centre, we really take on board the parents' input as well, because although we are there seeing the children grow and develop, some of the things that we see within the centre might be different to the home environment as well.
And I think it's also important to get that face-to-face, because often at drop-off, I know, it's like, quick, bye, see you this afternoon. So to get that face-to-face with the educator and sit down and just be mindful with them for that moment, I think is really important.
Yeah.
Now, next question is for Kayleen, and it comes from Alice. Are there kindergartens that offer longer hours than the traditional 8 to 3, for example, Kayleen?
Thanks, Alice. Yes, and as we mentioned previously, our kindergarten program runs from 8:30 to 4. However, as we're a long day care centre as well, we're open the 12 hours a day. So you can attend anywhere between that 12 hours and still partake in the kindergarten program.
Okay. And another question for you, Kayleen, and it comes from Kuan. Does childcare subsidy cover kindy at Sunkids?
Absolutely. If you're getting CCS now or subsidy on your fees now, then you get subsidy on your fees into kindergarten. So there is no price difference from what you're paying now to what you pay for kindergarten. There are added benefits. So if you're on a healthcare card, then you do get more discounts onto the kindergarten program. And we recommend minimum 2 days a week in order to be eligible for all your kindergarten CCS and funding.
Yeah, thank you, Kayleen. I'm sure there's a lot of questions surrounding that topic. Next question comes from Claire, and we'll direct this one to you. Thank you, Linda. How is kindy different to childcare?
Well, look, the kindergarten program really differs from any other classroom in the childcare centre because it's run by a early childhood teacher like myself or Lee, so we're bachelor qualified, and we use that experience and that knowledge and understanding that we have of school and the prep expectations to form our curriculum, I guess, with the learning outcomes from the Queensland kindergarten guidelines, you know. A big difference also you'll find is that the kindergarten rooms are a lot more flexible in their learning. So the children are a lot more independent as well. So we're able to, you know, decide on the day spontaneously, oh, we're going to play a little bit longer, or we're going to choose a different activity because it's surrounding little Tommy's interest today, you know. Because the children are learning how to cope with those spontaneous changes and do things a little bit more independently as they're going into prep.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Lucinda, and it's for you, Lee. Would the learning each week be the same every day of the week, no matter which day the child is attending?
Well, Sunkids has a emergent play-based curriculum, so no 2 days are ever the same. They will participate in regular events, routines and events like group times, story time, show and tell, but they will always be different. They're always changing. The teachers provide a variety of learning activities and resources that support the children to understand and gain concepts in language, literacy, maths, science, arts through their play. So it's always different.
Always different.
Yeah.
Nice. Now back to you, Linda, please. Question coming in from Mark. What skills should my child have developed by the end of kindergarten?
Easy. It's that social emotional development.
Which you've mentioned earlier today.
We talk about it so much. Look, it is vital that a child is socially emotionally ready for prep. They have so many challenges ahead of them, just that transition into prep, new friends, new teachers. And it's hard. Some of them might have been with us since nursery, you know, and then to be going, oh, wow, I'm taking this big step out of a kindergarten room into a school of so many hundred children. With only one educator, it can be quite daunting. Absolutely. So they need to be able to be independent and confident, you know, and that's that social and emotional development. You know, it is important that children also are able to toilet, dress themselves, you know, open bags and lunch boxes. We've spoken about the dreaded cling wrap won't open.
Avoid the cling wrap. That's my advice.
The cling wrap, yes.
The little snap lock boxes are a little bit easier.
They're more important than those academic skills. I know we are teaching them the pre-literacy and pre-numeracy skills, but it doesn't mean the child needs to be able to rote read or rote count and start saying, I know every single letter and sound of the alphabet and I can count to 100 and back. It's more important that they can just recognise their name, you know, so that way when someone says, oh, whose jumper is this? They can read the name at the back of it saying, that's mine, that's my belongings. So,
Or be confident to ask for help.
Be confident to ask for help, definitely.
But definitely from what we've heard so far, I think Sunkids has a great curriculum program to get those children ready for, you know, those situations like you've just mentioned. mentioned.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, questions come in from Liz at home. Thank you, Liz. Well, we're going to direct this one to you, Kayleen. Are there any prerequisites for starting kindergarten?
Okay, the only prerequisite is the age. So
Okay.
children do have to be turning 4 by the 30th of June is the only prerequisite, and 2 days a week to come for the government kindergarten funded program. So that's it.
That's pretty easy as that. Now, unfortunately, we've run out of time to answer some of the questions that you've sent in at home, but thank you for sending them in, but rest assured they will be answered as our wonderful panel here will see to those questions tomorrow or later in the week. So thank you again for sending those in, and they will get answered. Now it comes to one of the exciting times of the night when we're going to announce the lucky winner of our door prize, and the winner is, drumroll, Stacey Venter. So a huge congratulations, Stacey. You are the winner of this very exciting play-based play kitchen. I'm sure you'll have lots of fun, Stacey, with your children at home, and that is valued at over $500. So a huge congratulations to you, Stacey. Enjoy making cookies and cups of tea with your children at home. Now, unfortunately, that is all we have time for tonight. I'd like to thank our wonderful panel here for spending the time in answering questions and giving us a real insight into the kindergarten program here at Sunkids. And a special thank you to, obviously, to Gabby for sharing your knowledge about OT and the benefits and what's required for the children. So a huge thank you, Gabby. But most importantly, thank you everyone for tuning in at home tonight for the webinar. We can't wait to have you maybe on board here at Sunkids in one of our programs next year. But thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening and good night.
They grow so much in such a short period of time. Those early years, you just never get them back.
If your child comes home happy and you feel like their needs have been met during the day, that's the best feeling in the world.
We like to have lots of little small worlds. We'll have different activities on shelves, but they can create what they like to do. They're having fun, but they're actually taking in a lot of knowledge and they're learning a lot of things through that time too.
It's a warm, happy place. Everyone is smiling, the kids are running around having fun.
Everyone speaks to you and cares about our children, so that's really the number one priority.
I don't know how to explain it other than it feels like home.